And for the next 6 months, we'll have meetings in the dark. Let the record show that the counselors are all here, and we now know more information about Muppets than we ever knew before. Council members, you have the minutes of our October 12th meeting in your packet. Do they meet with your approval?
Vote to accept the meetings as written.
Motion, second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Going to have visitor comment now. Just remind everybody that visitor comment is limited to 5 minutes, and we're here to listen. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to take any action or do anything. This is a listening opportunity. So the first person today is Pete Farron. Come on up. Good evening. Welcome to City Council.
My name is Pete Farron. I have resided since June of this year at 433 Osprey Lane, apartment 202. I'm here as a concerned citizen of Independence and represent only myself. You are aware that parking where I live is difficult and unsafe. Hopefully you're aware of the unsafeness because of the 2 lanes and the parking on both sides, which requires those with 2 cars and with the requirement of 1 parking spot per unit of apartment unit. Most people have, or a lot of people have 2 cars, so you're parking all over the street. That's why it is full on both sides. And that's probably why you changed it from 1 lane to 2 lanes to have more adequate parking, I'm assuming. We also park in the public parking along the back of the Elks. We're concerned, I'm concerned about the parking when we start talking projects. Osprey Apartments are coming in next year. And then I don't quite know where the Elks are going to locate, and they will park. So I have concerns there. Parking, okay, I already went through that. Osprey Apartments will open next year and need more parking. The Elks new building will need to have parking for its members. Independence is increasing in the right direction. The retail stores and the viability, that's good. And we'll need more parking. I recommend you consider leaving the parking on both sides of the street, and you consider one-way traffic. One-way traffic coming in at C and Osprey, and then exiting at D and Osprey. This would allow a safer access because the width is very small right now, and with all the new people coming into town for events and so forth, it would be a safer direction. In allowing new development along Osprey, I'd like you to maintain the number of public parking spots we currently have available right now, because the whole apartment complex is full, and so that means that most people that are there will have 1 or 2 cars for at least a year period. And continue to operate and develop as you have. We want to be part of it and in this community. We're proud to be here, but I want to just have you think about that as a consideration, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm going to leave this for you and let you guys, because I know there's some things percolating, and so I'll just leave that there. Our next presenter is Kathy Underwood Bush. Now, council members, I know what Underwood Bush is going to be speaking about, and we've been advised by our legal folks that we are welcome to listen, and we are not to make any comment or ask any questions, because this is, it is in the hands of the lawyer. So I just wanted to pass that on from our city attorney. Good evening, Kathy, and welcome to City Council.
Hi, John. I think you all know me, or at least have my name and my address. I did I do believe y'all received a packet that I sent out with some information, so I'm not going to go over that again. I do just want to say the reason a lawyer got involved was because after a year of no responses, that was my only option to get this moving forward. So I presented a timeline. I think it's pretty clear. I'm here hoping the council will make a recommendation that the property be returned to me so that I can continue to restore my home. This issue does affect my ability to get a loan or a HELOC or sell the property or do anything with it. In a city that claims they want to preserve historic properties, this in effect does condemn the property, as why would I continue to put any time, effort, or money into restoring a home that I have no equity in at this point. I was originally told that this could not be done because the park, which I share a lot line with, was donated to the city. I've given evidence that that is actually untrue. The park was actually purchased by the city, so the lot line can be adjusted. I do not believe that at any point in time will this city ever put a street through all the way, shore up the bank, build a bridge, take out the two properties on the other side to get to the 5 houses on 9th Street. It makes no sense when we have traffic issues on the south side of town that need to be addressed, and it's 1 block north of a through street anyways. So even in that case, I'd be thrilled to have the city, if they want to pave that and put in some sidewalks and a curb and make it clean, because it's a mess and it's dirty already, and I'm tired of the dirt. So I don't believe that any of that makes any sense, and I'm hoping that council members will look at that and realize that not returning the property to me makes absolutely no sense. Even if the city was going to put a street through, they still wouldn't move it 20 feet south to go through my front porch and my front yard. This property has been not even on the city's radar. I owned it for multiple years. The city didn't even know they had it back in their possession until I informed them it was that important to them. I don't know what else to do at this point. This is kind of my last resort. I am ready to file a lawsuit. I really don't want to spend the money on that. I would really like to put it back into the house. I don't see why this is even an issue. So I'm really hoping the city will consider my request and return the property, like I said, so I can continue to work on the house and restore it. If any of you have been by it, I've done quite a bit of work this last year. And that's pretty much all I got. So I'm hoping you guys can bring some common sense to this issue. And you know where to reach me if you have any questions.
Thank you, Kathy. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks,
Have a
John.
pleasant evening. Okay, we're going to move forward to reports and presentations. Under my report, I have several things. Had recent meetings with Senator Deb Patterson, keeping her informed of what we're working on and trying to help and she's been helpful in making sure that the legislature understands issues of rural communities. Met with SEDCOR folks, attended the LOC board meeting, an annual meeting that took place last week. And as you know, from my last report, I did serve on that nominating committee as a past president. The local Mid-Willamette Valley Council of Governments, they're having a convening on housing, and once that's done, because I know everybody's working, I'll make sure to send that link to you so you can watch the information presentation about housing and the issues in the region. And when you do a YouTube thing, I have learned a little trick. You can change the setting on how fast it goes, so you can go like 1.5. So you still understand it very clearly, but it does move things right along. And I'm also serving on the Council of Government. Since I'm a board member, I'm helping with the annual meeting that will be taking place via Zoom in February. So just wanted you folks to know that. Under liaison reports, Councilor Roden, anything from traffic safety?
Yeah, we talked about the changes at the Independence Elementary School pick-up and drop-off, and how we made the Chief of Police Mason made some changes to how they pick up and drop off, and it seems to be going more smoothly, and so everybody seems to be happy about that, but it's still a work in progress. We talked about some issues just on not having proper paint markings on streets, and so we're going to research getting those paints back on curbs so we can actually park it safely and get good warning signs for people that need to park. And we talked about the speed warning sensors that we put up at the beginning of the year, and how we haven't read the data off of those since January. And so we asked to get the data off of those sensors so we can actually see how many people are speeding by, if they're a good location to be at, if they need to be moved in the next year, and what we're learning from having those speed sensors up. I think it was a really good meeting.
Great. Thank you very much. Councilor Job, Historic Preservation, please.
Thank you. I do have great news. The Brew got the approval for the awning and covering for the outside seating area. I think that's pretty important for our downtown. And then we also have a special night tonight that the mayor's going to be presenting some awards. And that's about it.
Great. Thank you very much. Councilor Corr.
The last Independence Day meeting was canceled. The one previously I did not report on, so I'll just report on that one. The big issue of discussion in that particular meeting was all of the carnivals who have previously supported Independence Days have gone out of business. So we're looking at how to replace that opportunity, particularly for kids. We're going to come up with a plan A, plan B, and plan C and hope one of them works. If anybody hears of a carnival company that is buying some equipment from a company that's gone out of business, please let us know. Because that is obviously number one choice, is to have a carnival. And other than that, we're just trying to shore up some documentation around the commission.
Great. Thank you, Councilor. Appreciate it. Mr. City Manager, I think you get to be the next one. Always good to see you.
Thank you, Mayor. Good to see you all as well. So just a couple of really quick things here. First off, wanted to let you know that we are targeting the second half of February for opening the museum. So lots of work going on there. I would highly encourage you to kind of stop by sometime and talk to either Natasha or Amy. They're doing great work in there. They've started moving everything. You're starting to see how it's all going to come together. There's just been a lot of work to do, and we've gotten them some additional resources, but they're trying to be very economical in how they're getting things done. They're doing a lot of the casework, rehabilitation themselves, painting things, just really working together with a lot of volunteers in the community to make that work. So look forward to something there, and stop by if you have a chance, and just say hi and get a little tour of what's going on. The second item is I'd like to introduce our new Public Works Director, Gerald Fisher. Gerald's right here. I'm going to actually have him come up and just say a few words about himself, and you can ask him some questions if you want. But super excited to have him here. I announced this at the last meeting, but wanted the chance to have him just kind of be able to say hi to you and kind of tell you a little bit about his history.
Well, good evening and welcome to council.
Good evening. I've been in the engineering field since 1998. I've worked in both public and private sector. Private sector work includes design, contract management, and city engineering services. Public sector, same thing, design, contract management, city engineer, public works director, and I have, before I came here, been a public works director for a total of 8 years. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Well, I will just say thank you very much for being here. We're glad you're part of the team. You and I've had a chance to visit a little bit, and we're moving forward.
Excellent.
Thanks
Thank you
so
very
much.
much. I appreciate it. Glad to be
Okay.
here.
Great.
So as my custom, just do you have any questions for me and my staff that's here tonight? If not, that concludes my report for the evening.
Thank you. Okay. We're going to do the next part. We have a department presentation. I have a little script I get to read this evening. And this is fun. We get to recognize 2 exceptional projects from the Historic Preservation Committee's deliberations that have helped preserve the history and the culture of independence. And this is the first year that this award's been given. That's the Carnes Weaver Award. Was created by the Independence Historic Preservation Commission to recognize excellence in historic preservation in the city of Independence. The award named for Dan Weaver and Michael Carnes, who were key proponents of the historic preservation efforts in our community. It was established this year, and with the intent that this award to be given on an annual basis to promote the preservation of Independence historic properties and in the districts. And the winners of the first ever Carnes Weaver Awards are a recent porch improvement on 284 C Street and the remodel on 230 South 4th. Now, Ramon Martinez has put together a video of each of the projects, which we can see, and we'll go from there.
Hi there, my name is Fred Evander and I'm the community planner here at the City of Independence. I'm here at 284 C Street giving out the first annual Carnes Weaver Preservation Award. We're giving this
I think we're calling a
this year to
timeout
Jeff
here.
Myers and
Okay,
IT to the rescue.
now if this is Hollywood, we just roll it back and it is.
We just wanted to see Fred
Hi
twice.
there, my name is Fred Evander and I'm the community planner here at the City of Independence. I'm here at 284 C Street giving out the first annual Carnes Weaver Preservation Award. We're giving this year to Jeff Myers and Melissa Myers for their work on this house.
Hi, I'm Jeff Myers, and my wife Melissa and I got this house in 2011, and this is the Hodgins Kosterman house, which was built in 1876, we believe. When I had gotten it, it was covered with asbestos shingles and basically rotting into the ground. So we spent the last few years trying to bring it back to what it looked like. The last project we worked on, which you can see in the background, was the porch, which is sort of a reasonable interpretation of what the original porch looked like. We have a number of old photos that we were able to use to work out where the trim was and how it was milled and designed. So we were able to do that. Most everything you see here is original on the house, with the exception of the roof on the porch. But everything else was actually in pretty good shape once we peeled off the rind. The next plan, as you can probably see, needs to be done is to do the front stairs.
Hi, I'm Melissa, Jeff's wife, and this house has been absolutely a dedication of love through the years. It's been small steps, and I feel like we're getting very close to the very last steps, which would be our last big project, because the steps are falling in. But every part of this house has been looked at, partially redone the best we could, and just extremely proud of it. We love this neighborhood, we love Independence, and it's just an honor to be part of this community, and the house here is part of that for us.
Hi there, my name is Fred Evander, community planner at the City of Independence, and I am out here today with Tyler Kolb at 230 South 4th Street, celebrating the restoration of this historic resource.
Hi, my name's Tyler with Tyler Kolb Construction, and I bought this property in 2019 with the intention of restoring it actually for a rental property for my family. When we bought the property, it was in complete shambles. There were tenants here that had been living here for the last 10 years and have done absolutely no maintenance to the house. And so, working with the historical district in Independence, I realized that we had to keep a lot of the original architectural features of the house and really keep the front facade and the sides original to the property. So we ended up having to completely take out all of the windows. We were able to keep the original sashes, but we had to rebuild all of the exterior components for the window and then redo the sashes. The front door was in disarray, and I tried to salvage it, but I couldn't, so I was able to find a replica wood front door and put it in. All of the siding components we basically stripped down to bare wood where we could, and then obviously repaint it. The house is built on a slab foundation, and we actually had to pour a new slab to re-level the floor and actually jack up all of the exterior walls to make everything level again. If this house was not in the historical district, it would have been torn down and a new house rebuilt. But I knew I had to save what I could and work with the house that was here. One nice thing about the historical district is they did let me build a shed since the house does not have a garage. And I was able to come up with a design that met their criteria and then use all architectural acceptable components. So that siding there is real wood siding that matches what was on the house. I was able to kind of dress it up a little bit with some wood windows and just kind of simulate a design that matches the front of the house here. As a contractor for over 20 years, I've always been a little intimidated by the historical review process. But after going through it at the City of Independence, working with their team, it was pretty seamless to take my project concept and then actually turn it into something I can start working on. And without some of their input, I don't think my project would have come out as nice as it did. So thank you.
So yes, we are thankful that Tyler has restored this house. He did a great job on it. You can see he's restored windows, the siding. He's brought back the history of this house that was dilapidated. We're thankful for the work of Tyler Kolb Construction, and we hope that he keeps an eye out for more historic houses in the City of Independence.
So I'd love to have Fred, could you come up, and then also have our award winners, could you come forward so we can recognize your achievements? Les, you can't sit back there, you have to come up. Come on up here, because this way they get the pictures on TV. Come on up.
There you go. Oh, there you go, it's beautiful.
There you go.
That's lovely.
Okay, now what we need you to do is turn around, and so everybody's in there. Good. Everybody crawl in.
I want to see.
There you go, Fred, you're on one end, I'm on the other.
I know.
So, thank you for what you folks have done to make our community even better. Keep doing it, please, and we really appreciate it. Let's give them a round of applause.
Okay, we want to see what the award looks
I know, I
like.
didn't see it.
You better turn around so everybody can see that they didn't get a chance to see.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Classy.
That's very nice.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Good job.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, we're going to keep moving promptly forward. Our first presentation that we were going to have this evening from Human Resources from Amanda Christensen, that's going to be rescheduled. She had a family issue that came up, and so she's not able to be with us this evening. Is that?
Yeah, that's correct. She actually had a family celebration that wouldn't make sense for her to.
Would you like to share that?
Well, her daughter won a, hopefully I can, because I don't know if she's won it yet, but she won a special award for her playing volleyball, and so she wanted to be there for her daughter tonight.
That was more
That
important
makes
than this.
perfect sense.
Really?
Yes, as a matter
It
of
is.
fact.
We're here.
So,
That's awesome.
our next presentation is going to be from the world famous. You see, you always butter up city recorders because they can make you look really good or really bad in the minutes. And so, Karen Johnson, our city recorder, we're looking. It's nice to hear from you this evening.
Oh, thank you. So, just a little something on city recorders. So what is a city recorder? Here's our agenda that we're going to go through. Of course, I had to create an agenda, right? But what is a city recorder? And it's not that. Anytime I go to Starbucks or Dutch Bros and they say, hey, where do you work? And I go, the city. And, well, what do you do there? I'm the city recorder. Oh, you sit in the room and do this. And no, that's just a teeny tiny part of it, but I'm not the court reporter. The city recorder is one of the oldest professions in the world. Early keepers of the archives were often called remembrancers, And before writing came into use, their memory served as public record. So, yeah, thank God that writing now, because my memory as I get older is not so great. Ancient Greece had a city secretary who read official documents publicly. And at the opening of meetings, one of his first duties was to decree a curse upon anyone who should seek to deceive the people. So can I have that in my job description?
No.
The town recorder was the first appointed position in Independence. It's currently one of the 3 positions named in the city's charter, the other 2 being the city manager and the municipal judge. And I've served as your city recorder since May of 2000. So the core duties I have, just a few from the charter. Clerk of the council, administer oaths of office, and countersign all writings. And Oregon state law does provide that I am the local elections officer and the public records officer. So my essential duties are preparing packets, minutes, and I actually help create the legislation that comes before you, the ordinances and resolutions. City attorney obviously looks them over and makes them all right by law. So in 2021, some of those things, I did 8 ordinances and 14 resolutions, which were reviewed and brought to you for potential action. And I issued oaths of office to Mayor McCardle and Councilors Jobe, Martin Willis, and Roden. I also prepare oaths of office for police officers and any others that might be needed. So I prepared agendas and or sent out notices and attended all of these meetings since January of 2021. So 20 council meetings, 11 planning commission, 11 HPC. So quite a few meetings over the year. Other things I do make the notices and packets for the Parks and Rec, Museum, and Library Board, but I don't attend those meetings. I am also the elections officer, so every 2 years, I am the person to go to when you want to run for office. Although the schedule is set by Oregon state law, I determine when the petitions are to be submitted in order to be verified at the county by the state deadline. Our local schedule hasn't been set yet for the November 22nd election, which will occur on November 8th. And filing requirements. The number of signatures that are required on petitions, ours isn't set by either charter or ordinance. So we go by state law, which states that the number of signatures must equal 1% of the number of independence voters that voted for governor in the last election. So I'm also your public records officer. So here's a test. Which one of these things is a public record?
Historic Preservation
Historic
Commission
preservation.
All the above.
Oh, yeah. It's
Not
all-
number 2.
They all are public record. Oregon defines a public record as any writing that contains information relating to the conduct of the public's business, whether prepared, owned, used, or retained by a public body, regardless of physical form or characteristics. What the law also states is some of those records may not be disclosable or might not be disclosable. So if they are exempt from disclosure, there's also 2 different tests. Are they totally exempt or conditionally exempt? And conditionally exempt means they are exempt unless public interest requires disclosure. So in that case, I generally defer to the city attorney. So public records requests, there are time limits now on these. Once I get a public records request, I have 5 days to acknowledge that I got it and 10 days to provide the information. I testified before the committee at the state when this bill was becoming law and said, you know, if you have this time limit, then I would never be able to take a vacation because I would have to always be here to respond within 5 business days. And they go, oh, I think folks at the state legislature level don't realize how smaller cities work, smaller governments work, and I think that was helpful to them. Requests that I've received to date are, I've had 14, well now 16, level 2 and level 3 requests. And the city itself decided on what the level 2 and level 3 requests are. It's how much time is taken to find it, if there's more than one department involved in having to collect the records from, all that kind of stuff. Some of my other duties, I make sure that you guys are signed up with the Oregon Ethics Commission and track the boards and commissions. I issue backyard chicken permits. Oops. I do the city newsletter. I'm a notary public. I help other assistants, other departments with different things. And some of my outside activities, I sit on the Oregon Sunshine Committee, and that's been fun. That's been a committee set up by the governor, and we are tasked with reviewing the 651 exemptions to public record law, as well as to study and identify any inefficiencies and inconsistencies in the application of public records law that impedes transparency. So that's been an interesting committee to be a part of. I am also the chair of the Finance and Governance Committee at the Chamber of Commerce. I am also the membership chair and the rum cake chair for the Rotary, so if anybody wants rum cakes, now's the time. And when I wrote this, I was a past president of the Oregon Association of Municipal Recorders, but as of today, I am the newly appointed first vice president of the Oregon Association of Municipal Recorders. Somebody had resigned and nobody was able to step in and fill in, and they took me. So I will be going through that again, and I will be president in a year. So my wish list for future projects. Electronic records management of a full-on ORMS or Laserfish system. That's kind of expensive, but I think it would be very, very helpful to the public as well as to the electeds and the staff in finding records. I would like to be able to digitize those historic records and then have some sort of a public display where we can safely display the books because they are very old. And they are really, really special documents. That wasn't a fake picture. That actually is book 1 of our council minutes from 1894. So if you want to come take a look at this afterwards, I'll have this here for you.
If you need an affidavit of support for digitizing the historical records, I'll give it.
So, in summary, there was a political scientist back in 1934 who said, "No other office in municipal service has so many contacts. It serves the mayor, the city council, the city manager when there is one, and all administrative departments without exception. All of them call upon it almost daily for some service or information. Its work is not spectacular, but it does demand versatility, alertness, accuracy, and no end of patience. The public does not realize how many loose ends of city administration this office pulls together." And I think that is still very true today.
Well, Karen, thank you very much for all that you do for all of us, you know, and you really do some things. And I just want to share with council that lest you think that some of those things in the old books are just neat old stuff, we have on occasion needed to go back into the handwritten, back in the 1800s, ordinances to move things forward. And it sure makes a whole difference on on the quality of penmanship. And fortunately, Karen can also read cursive, which I'm learning that many younger folks don't have that up, haven't learned that yet. So anyway, Karen, thank you very much for being.
Any questions, anytime?
I do, I have a couple.
Sure.
When I was working at the museum, there was talk about storing the city archives there. Is that still something that's being looked at, and why?
I would like to store some of the things there, but I want to make sure that everything is temperature controlled and humidity controlled, and so that way it is preserved for the future. We are very fortunate here in Independence. If there is a document that is determined that it's met its retention period and we consider it historical, most cities would then are required to turn it over to the state archives. But because we have a museum in Independence, and not only a museum in Independence, but it is an actual department of the city, we are exempt from that. We can put our records to our museum.
Okay.
Great, thank
The
you.
other question was, your notary services, are those available to the public?
Yes, but I don't advertise. But yes.
Were you asking about notary?
Yeah.
I'm also a notary, and both of us, I'm sure it's the same. If you're a city official, you can't charge anything for your services.
I'm not asking for me, but when you say notary public, I mean, public's in the title, so I just want to make
Yes,
sure that if
yes.
somebody wanted a notary and couldn't find one, there's a resource here at the city.
There is a
for it.
resource here.
Okay.
There is.
Thanks,
I'm
Karen.
also a notary. Got 3 of us
Get,
here.
did Shakespeare get thee to a notary? No, I think that, maybe that phrase is different. Thank you, Karen, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
We're going to continue moving forward for the Finance Department. Gloria Butch has a brief presentation today, because I think we have many pages of your presentation.
Yes, but I'm not going to read them all to you.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome to council.
Good evening. Kind of an aside, we have several notaries in the city departments. I am a notary. Our utility billing clerk is a notary, and who else, Karen? I believe Myra is also,
I
so.
think we just need to have a notary festival and invite
Right.
everybody.
So whenever Karen's
Has
not
something.
available, we've got somebody that's happy to do it.
Thank you.
So for my financial report, I tried to write it to be fairly detailed so that there wasn't much left to present to you. We do have our auditors here this week, and things seem to be going well. They've almost completed their testing today. They'll be back tomorrow to kind of finish up their field work. And then we hope to have the total completion of the audit by the end of November. So that is all going well. Something to note in the financial report for this, for the first quarter, our beginning fund balances are estimated, and because we haven't completed the audit yet. So once the audit is complete, we'll have our actual ending fund balances for last year, so beginning fund balances to compare with the budget. Other than that, if you've got any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you for providing all the detail, and allows us to go digging through that, and if we are ever need.
Yes, and there's any information that you are interested in and that I could bring and add to this report, please let me know, and I would be happy to add that.
I do have a question.
Please.
Sure.
So you talk about the sewer fund, the water fund, and the storm drainage fund. Expenditures are below because we didn't spend some things. Do we expect that to, by the end of the fiscal year, that we'll kind of catch up with that? We'll do some of those projects spring, early summer?
Yes, I would expect. Now that, so much of our finances, and even into this first quarter, are still being affected by COVID. And so there's a shortage of materials and supplies, for instance. So it makes sense that by the end of our fiscal year last year, that those expenses were down even then. So our ending fund balances are better than what we thought that they would be, and that our expenses are down.
And I guess maybe my question is maybe more for the city manager. Do we expect we're going to be able to complete some of those projects we had planned by the end of this fiscal year, or is it we're still going to be strung out by?
No, I think actually right now we're tracking to get all the capital projects that we had put in the capital improvement plan that we're putting the budget done. We still are hoping to get some grant funds for some of those projects, which would then come in as additional revenue and not be an expense. But so we're working that angle hard. But no, we're on track to get most of those projects done.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Thank you for that report, and since you're already standing at the podium,
Yes.
can we move into the next item? Is that okay?
Certainly.
Thank you.
So then the next one is utility customer assistance. And the action requested, I'm going to ask to put that off until the next meeting because we do not have a draft of that agreement yet for you to review. So I don't expect you to approve an agreement that you haven't been able to review. Little background on this. We had back last March, we had worked on trying to find some way to do some utility assistance with the federal funds. At that time, the CARES funds, we weren't allowed to help our customers because that was defined as replacing lost revenue. So now with the new funding, we are able to do some replacement of revenue, but this really doesn't do that. This, I'm hoping, is going to be more of a long-term solution that we've been trying to work on for many years now. And there's a not-for-profit agency that collects the funds and kind of and then there's the Mid-Willamette Valley
Community Action.
Yes,
Agency.
that one. And so they'll, the agreement with them, they will process the applications. They will submit requests for payment from that nonprofit that has the funding. And so I'm hoping that once the 2-year program is over, we can figure out a way to have collections done similar to the city of Salem, where they have a little card and you can, when you pay your utility bill, you can add some money to that goes towards that program. And so that those monies will go directly to the people that are administering our program for us so that we don't have to do that part in-house. So next month, I hope to bring you a copy of the draft agreement, and we can move forward.
Great, appreciate that. Thank you for being creative.
Thank you.
All righty. Mr. Pessamir and Mr. Irvine, I think you folks are up.
So, thank you, Mayor. I'm going to actually have Sean cover business support items, and then I'm going to do just kind of a quick overview of what I've collected so far on resident support program.
Great, thank you. Good evening, Mr. Irvine.
Good evening.
Hi, Sean.
Appreciate the opportunity to be here. Mayor and Council, you probably recall I was here about a month ago with Courtney talking about our plans for the next few months in terms of business support and how we want to be able to assist our businesses as they're both recovering from COVID and then coming into the winter time, really try to get them additional assistance so they can continue to thrive as businesses. Since we talked the month ago, we've definitely been busy, and when I say we, I really mean Courtney, because she has been out and about a lot. Particularly with regard to outreach to the downtown businesses, I know she's been in just about every downtown business at least once, and for a lot of them, she's been in multiple times talking about what we have coming. She actually even created a flyer to hand out to the business owners with all of the kind of the opportunities and the things that we have coming so that they can just kind of have it all in one spot. And then that way, when she follows up with an email or comes in person, say, hey, remember that thing that was third on the list? This is what we're talking about now. It's worked well enough. She's actually going to be going around beginning in November with a new flyer, just really trying to kind of keep people ahead of the game and really knowing what's going on. But she's been putting in a ton of work. Most of the projects I'm going to talk about really aren't particularly expensive. They're just time consuming. But we've been knocking off just about a project a week since we were in here talking with you all. Did that work? That did not work. Oops. Well, can you advance it for me? Sorry. So we kicked it off with a photo shoot. This is something, it's really helpful to have good imagery for a lot of different reasons, promotional and otherwise. So we did a photo shoot at 6 downtown businesses, the Pick and Chicken, Gilgamesh, the Collection on Main, Hearts Compass, the Cinema, and then Territory Restaurant. And the goal really was, we've got a lot of great pictures from previous photo shoots and other opportunities, but they're all kind of nice summertime weather. And if you're going to be doing any kind of promotion or stories about fall, winter, you want people dressed accordingly, and so you can kind of match it to the story. So that was really the goal, was to show people still out having fun in the downtown, maybe a little more bundled up, maybe a little more ready for the wet weather, around fire pits, things like that. We use these kind of pictures in a lot of different ways. We actually don't have the pictures from the photo shoot back yet from the photographer. He's doing kind of final touch-ups and all, but I've got some examples of how we use them with social media. We use them in city publications. We'll also share them with partner organizations. So the Downtown Association, the Polk County Tourism Alliance, Travel Salem, Travel Oregon, we essentially provide these pictures to them as well. And a lot of times they will also use them in their social media and their publications. For example, the Travel Salem's visitor guide a couple years ago, it seemed like about half the pictures in there were from Independence, because we had provided those pictures to them, and they were all a bunch of really good pictures. So we get a lot of good leverage that way from our photography. Next slide. Next, the job fair. This was really kind of really a responsive project that came from talking to the business owners, and that they were really in need of staff. And we wanted to kind of create something that would bring people downtown, that would create a sense of vibrancy in the downtown, help businesses get, hire people, downtown in particular, but then we also wanted to open it up to businesses outside the downtown to be able to set up a table, in the plaza, and also be able to look for new applicants. We had over 20 businesses participate, with over 150 attendees. We actually had one business that pulled out early. They were going to participate, and they got, because we were publicizing this ahead of time, of course, and they got so many applicants before the job fair even happened, that they said, we've got all we need. We don't need to participate in the job fair. So that was definitely a success there. But so 20 plus businesses. Each one that participated said they reported that they had multiple applicants, which was great. We had a real variety from kind of downtown retail and restaurant. We had industrial, manufacturing, healthcare. The city actually had a table there as well. We have several positions open currently. Everybody got multiple applicants. Actually, we followed up, and 5 of the businesses have actually hired people that they received applications from this job fair, and several others are currently interviewing applicants that they received from the job fair. So definitely seems like a success. Had a lot of positive feedback from the businesses that participated. One in particular said that she had attended 4 other job fairs, and that this one was by far the best. Or the one that she thought was the best done. And then just as a wrap up, we posted some pictures on social media about the job fair, and then listed all of the jobs and all of the employers that participated as kind of one last way to get the word out for the folks who participated, so that anybody who didn't attend would know what positions were available and who was hiring, so that they could follow up if they wanted. So all in all, a really good event. The other way, there we go. And then the Halloween party in the park, that is this weekend. And it's really just trying to do a little kind of a free community event to bring people to downtown, celebrate the season, just have a lot of fun. We got Cordy again kind of went out and contacted as many of the downtown businesses as she could. A lot of them are offering specials, giveaways, treats, all kind of themed to the Halloween theme, which we're promoting on social media. We're bringing in some entertainers, an MC, which if you haven't seen Doc Titus, the party doctor, he plays usually at Bowman Farms for a lot of their stuff. He is a hoot. And definitely worth checking out. But we're also going to have a balloon artist / magician who will be there. And we're partnering with the Thoughts and Gifts Project to offer Halloween crafts for kids. So again, just, kind of trying to create something that will pull people downtown, getting the businesses all involved in whatever way they feel is easiest or best. So they're all kind of doing it as best they can, and then it's just kind of a great kind of downtown-wide opportunity for folks to engage. So that's really kind of what's kind of happened and about to happen. And like I said, it really, cost-wise, we haven't had to put out very much money at all for this. It was probably a total cost of about $5,000 for those events that I just talked about. Now, kind of what's coming up. The downtown lighting project, this is a really big one because even, in the Vision 2040 process, we did a particular engagement with downtown businesses, downtown business owners, to see kind of what we can do to continue to help the downtown thrive. And one of the things that frankly I thought was unexpected that came out of that was they really prioritized pedestrian lighting. They wanted the downtown to have better lighting in the wintertime because it gets dark early, and the street lights that we have, they just didn't feel like they quite created a good enough ambiance. So we're going to go and string cafe lights down Main Street from B all the way down to D Street. And it's one of these things that, sounds simple enough, but you've got to talk to every single building owner and get their permission to attach these cafe lights to the building, and kind of zigzagging the way down there. So Courtney has been pounding the pavement in that regard, trying to get in touch with everybody, make sure that they're all on board. For the most part, we're going to be able to use existing hardware, so it's really not a horrendous, invasion of the building or anything, but, we still want to make sure that we're communicating well with everybody before we just go and do it. But this project, the install is actually scheduled to begin next week. And so it should be up and running for sure by Thanksgiving. That's what we're shooting for. The other thing that's going right now is we're calling it the Polk County Community Card. And this is a gift card program that we're actually doing as a regional partnership with cities of Independence, Monmouth, Dallas, and it looks like Polk County is also going to jump on board. But this is a pretty simple gift card that you can run as, kind of as easily as a regular credit card at a business. So it's kind of no burden on the business owner. But it's a web-based, there's a platform that the businesses are all listed on. It's got a Google map sort of showing where they are if you want to look at that. But then what we're going to do, so Harney County out in Eastern Oregon used this to great success where they created this gift card program and then ran promotions. So they got sponsors or cities to kick in some money into a pot, and then they said, okay, hey, this week anybody that buys a gift card gets entered into a drawing for a $200 gift card. And so they're kind of generating interest that way. You've got 20, 30, 40 local businesses that take this gift card. So all of a sudden it's a nice thing that you can spend in a lot of places. And then they had grocery stores that got on. They had the local hospital was doing a vaccine incentive, so they bought a bunch of gift cards to be able to give out. And we're real optimistic about the kind of how this might go in Polk County. We're spinning this up right now. We've been working pretty closely with Monmouth and Dallas the last couple of weeks, hoping to launch it kind of mid-November-ish. We're looking to start doing outreach to businesses probably next week on this. And then the last thing is the Glow light display downtown, which is something that we started last year, with lighting and little kind of fun little light displays for people to see. And this year we're actually supplementing it with a holiday craft market. And that's again, we've actually got a community volunteer who's been volunteering her time to help organize that. We've been getting good response so far from people who want to be in that craft market, which would be up in the plaza. So again, that's going to be I believe it's going to be Small Business Saturday weekend is when that's gonna launch, and then it's gonna run all the way through the holidays to the new year. And I believe that is kind of the end of my report. We've got again kind of a few more things planned for January, February, and then kind of as things roll out, we'll continue to come up with new ideas and new projects and continue to work with local businesses to see what we can do to help them. Happy to answer any questions, or I can turn it over. Okay.
Councilor Kaur.
I want to make a suggestion, and I apologize if this adds to Courtney's workload. I know she's doing an awful lot, and I really appreciate her effort. Is it at all possible for her to create a council email list in which she sends out these flyers and sends out information to businesses about things that are coming up, that we get that too? I mean, we'd love to be
Yes.
able to talk it up as much as we can instead of having to refer them to Courtney.
Yeah, I think we can figure something out like that, yeah.
Great, nice suggestion.
Any other questions?
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Just to add one little thing to Sean's presentation, I think, as you know, we're trying to do what we can until the monies from the state kind of get activated through Business Oregon to really support some of our downtown businesses. So Sean's talking about, other things, but you'll see more of the traditional business type support things coming up, including technical assistance programs and a lot of other things that have really helped our businesses once we have those monies freed up from the state. So more to follow on that. We still haven't have any significant programs I think the state's released yet, but we're anxious to get those. So I wanted to kind of follow on to what Sean was talking about, just to kind of talk about the resident support program. I've asked all the council to kind of give me some ideas and some thoughts. And today was the deadline, so if you didn't get it in, sorry. No, I'm not kidding. This is obviously something that'll be ongoing. But I did want to create a deadline so we could actually start to figure out what the next steps are going to be. So tonight I'm just going to give you a really high overview of some of the things that we saw. And what staff's going to do next is to take these thoughts and ideas and first off, make sure, how they support recovery of COVID-19. And then second off, really start having some direct conversations with the partner agencies that either council has identified or other agencies that we think would actually be great partners to do some of the things that we've heard. So I'm just going to tonight give you kind of a real high overview of kind of what we've heard, and then just let you know that we're going to start activating that and start going out and actually really starting to figure out, okay, well, how can we do this? How can we support this? How can we make this work and make sure that we're supporting our community in their recovery from COVID-19? So,
Okay, we are awake.
all right. So just there were a couple things that we actually found that had some common themes as I went through these. So I'm going to kind of cover those first. First is youth activities. There were definitely some strong support for supporting our youth and making sure that they had the ability to do sports and do other activities that would support the youth. The two agencies that were primarily identified was the YMCA and CYS, Community Youth for Sports, or Central Youth Sports. And so we've actually had quite a few conversations with the Y. The Y has been really focused on Salem for a long time, but they're definitely looking to expand and do some exciting new opportunities in Independence. They have a new CEO who his name's Tim Sinatra, and he actually has been pretty excited to actually do some things out here. So we'll continue to engage with them and figure out how we can make that happen. We haven't had a whole lot of outreach with CYS, but we will definitely start doing that right away, just to make sure we can understand what are the opportunities there and how can we make that work. So that was kind of a common theme that I saw from a couple of counselors. The other common theme that we really saw that came through really strongly was some sort of navigator to kind of bridge this gap from residents who have a need and organizations that have resources to give to them. There's also a lot of volunteers that pour into those different programs. And so this concept of the city supporting a navigator, probably outside of an employee of the city, but maybe using city resources, to find that agency that would actually be a good agency to have that personnel so that they could actually come to events and make those connections on a one-to-one basis and make that happen. I have to give Councilor Kaur lots of kudos. She gave me a PowerPoint presentation and an entire workup of how to create a Monmouth Independent Support Network and everything else. So she's kind of taken this navigator idea and really flushed it out in a lot of different ways. And that's really helpful because, we can definitely see, how we can start to make this work and make those different connections, and really also to engage our volunteers. And I think kind of the exciting thing that I see with this is, we've got a couple years of stuff to do here, but if we do this right, we can actually probably create a program that can continue on in a long time in the future. And it's not just about independence, it'll be, about Monmouth independence, it'll be about making sure that our entire community is able to access resources for whatever might come up in the future, whether it's COVID or something different. So lots of good work there. There was definitely some requests to help with senior support, specifically the Senior Center in Monmouth, and to work more closely with them to give them some support. Some items related to homelessness and partnering with the county and with the Community Action Agency, I believe.
Probably the school district as well.
And school district as well. So we'll definitely look for there, and then some ideas on climate change and health equity. So that's kind of the list of what I have. Like I said, we'll kind of go through these and figure out what the best way to kind of structure these is, who the best partners are, start those open dialogues, and then of course come back to you guys to say, okay, well, here's kind of what we're thinking, what do you think, and how do we kind of move this forward? So this is going to kind of be an ongoing, conversation, I think, between staff and council to just basically make sure that we're doing what we can to get residents the support they need to recover from COVID-19.
Sounds good. Appreciate everybody who put in ideas and thoughts. That really helps staff. Okay, announcements. Anybody have an announcement they need to make?
I need to be excused from the next council meeting. I will be out of town.
Okay, so noted. And since nobody's jumping up and down, if somebody will end their meeting, we can all go home and have dinner.
Move to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Have a pleasant evening. Happy Halloween.